Afternoon, guys. How's it going?
Good afternoon, Ed. I'm doing well today, pal. Just had a fantastic session. Took a day off from the fiat mines and just hanging out at home, getting some work done. How are you doing, pal?
I'm good. Good to hear. Good to hear. Any interesting topics in the session?
No, it was just a fantastic call with a gentleman I've worked for before. But it's one of those ones too where when you get people that are so excited about the space, it's like we really could have just talked for hours, right? Like we could have
I
been
love
sitting
that.
at a pub and just gone for like 10 hours straight
Yeah.
on all the wonderful things going on in Bitcoin and the hope it provides and just the craziness of the world and how it currently is. And as you guys are well aware, what it's like looking like kind of insane to your friends at all times, right? It's nice to find a like-minded kindred spirit you can actually just chat with and understands how you're not exactly crazy.
Yeah, that's definitely the best part of hanging out with Bitcoiners.
What about yourself, Ed? What are you up to today?
Not much. Just getting ready for the weekend, doing some household chores. Done with work for the day. So yeah, just easing into the weekend.
Awesome. Good to hear. And how was work?
Oh, good. Just cooking and doing the usual.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Did you check out that wasabi tutorial from Ben yet?
I saw you posted it, but I haven't watched through the full thing yet. I'm very interested in doing it. I had an issue with wasabi actually. Maybe you know, where I downloaded it on my computer and I had it going, and there was some kind of issue. I'm running on a Mac, so I don't know if that might have been the issue, but the program was like crashing after it would try to connect to the servers. So I'm not sure
Really?
exactly
That's
what was going
interesting.
on there. Yeah, I might have to try it on my other computer and see how that works, and maybe just reinstall it. But I kind of just left it alone. It was a few weeks ago and didn't go back to it yet.
Yeah, no, fair enough, fair enough. I know I have not gone through the video entirely myself yet and haven't played around. I haven't played around with Wasabi on a Mac either too. Pat, I'm wondering if you have any experience in the past playing around with Wasabi Wallet, if you saw that tutorial video. And then also CryptoCloaks, I can see you in the audience. I believe you've been invited to be a speaker, but we don't have you up yet.
Absolutely. I've been a user of Wasabi for many years, and I recently started using it again. I downloaded and I started using it, just playing around with it. I'm not so much into the mixing feature of Wasabi, at least not at the moment, although I might be again in the future. But I really like the coin control feature of Wasabi. I really like to be able to manage my UTXOs, and I was playing around with Sparrow actually yesterday, and I found out that Sparrow has similar features where you can actually individually label and manage your UTXOs. And I really like, if you want to really nerd out in your Bitcoin wallet and really learn how to control your privacy and keep your KYC and non-KYC coins separate, not legal advice, but there are ways to do it. And also right now I'm just basically trying to survive this heat wave that we have going on. There's warnings not to even step outside for a minute because it's like 115 degrees here in LA. So I got to move back to New Hampshire as quickly as possible. It's way too hot over here in Southern California.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't do that kind of heat. I'd much rather the extreme colds that we get over here, if you call them extreme. But that 100 degrees is a little brutal.
Yeah, I just had to look that up. Being a resident Canuck up here too, I'm like, what's 115 Fahrenheit? That's 46 fucking degrees Celsius. That's stupid hot.
Yeah,
I think I would melt if I stepped out in that.
It was 100. It was 105 at night also. But yeah, sorry, CryptoCloaks. I'm so excited to hear from you.
Does my mic work now?
It does. Yes, we got you coming through. Hey,
there we go. Man, that took forever.
who on the CryptoCloak side are we speaking with today?
Rick,
awesome. Rick, thank you so much for coming and joining us, pal. I really appreciate you taking some time to hang out. How has your guys' week been? What's going on at CryptoCloaks today?
Been busy as hell. Finally caught up on a huge batch order that we've been working on for like 3.5 months. So that's been nuts. Oh, also Block down below. He's our newest sales and business developer guy. So if you want to bring him up, he can hop on stage if he wants to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Good to hear. Any specific things that you guys getting a lot of volume of? I hear the BitXs are pretty popular in the community. I wonder if you guys.
Yeah, BitX cases are just dumb right now. We were selling jigs and stuff on Amazon, and then we did the BitX case on Amazon, and they're selling like hotcakes. And then even on our website where you can fully customize the colors and stuff. I mean, it's crazy.
That's awesome to hear, though. I imagine it's good for business and good to see people getting little miners. I had a S9 about a year and a half back, or 2 years now at this point, that actually got the 3D printed case from you guys, and it's been serving well. It's beautiful.
Are you really rocking the space heater?
Yes, the space heater one.
Yeah,
yep.
There we go.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, I think Nathan has one of those too, right?
I do, and I've got a bit axe on the way as well too. So it was Rick, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Awesome, Rick. So I'm kind of curious because I don't know too much about the CryptoCloaks origin story. I'm wondering, like, how did this even come to be? Was this like a side fun project that developed into a full-fledged business, or was the onset like we're going to go right for it, 3D printing business and go hard?
So I got out of college. Oh God, it's been so long now. I feel old. 10 years ago, I got out of college. Then I had my 3D printer for a while right out of there. And then I think like within 6 months of getting out of college, I bought my first 3D printer because in the senior design project, I was in charge of the 3D printer in school. And then we had like laser cutters and stuff where everybody else got to choose or they got assigned like which machine they would run on part of the project. I was in charge of the 3D printer. And that's kind of where I fell in love with 3D printing just in general. And then after about 6 months of graduating, I bought my first printer. And then I got into Bitcoin probably 2017, I think is the year now. I can't even remember. It's been a while. 2017 would be. And I can't even remember where I bought my first Bitcoins or sats. Anyways, I wanted to get them off the exchange because you go down that rabbit hole. And I got a Ledger right away as the first hardware wallet. And I wanted to hide it and get it off my desk because all it did was just sit by my keyboard. And I was like, well, that doesn't seem very smart. So then I designed a really easy mountable mount for your Ledger just to slide in under your desk. And everything kind of took off from there. And here we are, what, seven years later? Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's really cool to hear.
Yeah, we started on Etsy. And after like 3 to 6 months on Etsy, I got sick of like getting charged 35% fees. So then I just created our own website and yeah.
Oh yeah, that's definitely the way to go.
Ed, before you jump in there too, I just want to point out, like, it's amazing to me how often we have these conversations and it's just Bitcoiners that want something for themselves and just go out and figure it out and build it and then end up finding like an entire whole industry or demand for that product, right?
Oh,
that
absolutely.
We've got so many people in the space that are just builders by their very nature. Sorry, Ed, I interrupted you. Jump in there, buddy.
No,
you're good.
Oh.
Yeah, you're good. I just want to make a quick note to the audience. If anyone's listening and wants to join in the conversation or just ask a question, feel free to raise your hand and I'll have you up here. I'd actually like to talk about 3D printers just in general. I had I'm not sure if you're familiar with TiVo. I forget what model it was, but it was one of the ones that you build. And
Yep.
I had absolutely no luck with it. I got it built, it would run and everything, and nothing would stick. I probably fumbled it during the building process, but it kind of turned me off for a couple of years. This was like probably 8 or 9 years ago at this point. And so I never got into it. And then a good friend got one of the resin printers, and I'm kind of curious what your take is on like what's a good model printer for someone to buy, maybe in like the reasonable price range, like budget option that is effective.
Yeah, so it's been crazy over the last 7 years. 3D printing, just the machines themselves and the quality they can print are 100x from where we first started. Back in the day, you had to fine tune everything to the point where you could definitely tell the difference just based on how you tuned your machine, how you tuned the filaments, how you tuned all the print settings. And nowadays, anybody can just buy, say, a Bamboo P1P, and they can print right off the bat, beautiful quality, super fast for like $500. Back in the day, it used to be like $500 for an Ender 3, and you'd have to fine tune and 3D print parts to just make it better right away.
Yeah,
so
I remember.
It's kind of mind blowing to watch that entire space just evolve and how fast it's happening over 7 years. And I've only been in for like probably 8 or 9. So it's crazy.
Yeah, I remember a big component of the TiVo that I got was everyone saying, oh, well, first you got to print out like this arm to like stabilize the this axis. And
Yeah,
I
the
was
Z
like, oh,
axis.
geez.
Yep.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
like the Maker Select V2s had to do that. You'd buy these threaded bars and then you'd 3D print the things right away and then bolt them on just to stop the shaking on the Z axis. Yep.
right. Yeah, I couldn't even print a cube with mine. It was just so terrible. So I completely gave up. But I saw my friend, like I said, he got like a resin printer, and I know they're functioning a little differently than the filament ones, but I was kind of blown away. Just like it was probably 3 years ago at this point, but how much easier it is, and just how much better the quality is with really so much less work.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I would say even back in the day, ANET A8s, the biggest problem with them like 8 years ago is they would just catch fire and start people's houses on fire. And those were like the $150 printers back in the day. it was a wild time.
Yeah, that is pretty wild. How many of you guys got running over there? I'm curious.
So in our Colorado shop, we currently have 32. And then Mopar Mining in Florida, he runs that shop and he has 12 or 13 now.
Wow. Wow, that's a big operation. Do you guys like have them all active like 24/7 or for the most part?
Yeah, for the most part, they've been going. For the last 3.5 months, every single one of them have been going 24/7, and I've been on a rotation of swapping the parts off every 3 hours. So having a newborn at the same time is kind of great because they'd wake up every 3 hours. So then I would just like help and then go down into the shop, take the parts off, and then just start another batch. And it was like that for like 3.5 months now.
I gotta jump in. Are you saying that you have to replace parts every 3 hours?
No, I'm taking parts off the print bed, so the parts will finish.
Okay.
And every three.
I was like, holy shit! How hard are these things running?
I would never buy a printer if I had to replace parts every 3 hours, ever.
Oh god! And congratulations on the newborn. How old now?
6 months.
Oh,
so
good.
Exciting.
Are you hitting the point where you get 4 hours sleep yet?
He's on a point where he gets 5 to 6, and then we feed him, and then it's like 3. So we're getting pretty good sleep, which is nice.
So I do want to touch on, I'm kind of curious too. And again, reminder for anybody in the audience, if you want to come up and ask a question about 3D printing, about Bitcoin, about businesses, whatever, we'd love to have you up here, come join us. So am I correct in understanding then that your time in college, you were studying, was it design or architecture, or what kind of led to playing with the 3D printers to begin with?
So I was an industrial engineer. So all of that is pretty much trying to do project management, layouts for different places. I mean, industrial engineering degree, you can do so many different things. But I graduated and worked at Genio Turkey for 7 years. And on the side, I was building CryptoCloaks up. And I think I've officially I quit over 3 years ago now and have been running CryptoCloaks full time. So.
Oh, that's impressive, Rick. I just love the idea of like your professors in college and these things too. You get this an unbelievably, I'm sure, difficult industrial engineering degree. And it's like, what are you going to do with it? I'm going to make little plastic grenades.
Yeah. I mean,
they're going to sell like fucking crazy.
I remember quitting my Fiat job at Genio Turkey. My boss going, good luck with that. And I just smiled and then like walked away. And I look at myself now and go, yeah, man, real good luck.
Oh God, that's such an awesome success story. I absolutely love it. So I'm curious then too, you have the recent kind of cryptic announcement with Lightning Store there.
Oh yeah. So Stuart's been working on trying to reach out to him and see if we could work out some partnerships. And we have a couple products coming down the line using his art. So we are very excited. And we'll show that soon. I'm not going to say it just yet, but get ready. It's going to be sweet.
Awesome. Very cool. I'm excited to check that out as well, too. Just a reminder to anybody in the audience, again, if you do want to come up and ask a question, we'd love to have you here. Just a bit of a different tangent. Something I was thinking about this morning, Rick, that I'm curious your take on is that I'm trying to game out where I think the future of different industry sectors and 3D printing in general is kind of going. Because it seems to me like it's a naturally deflationary force that maybe has other kind of applications that aren't really being used or used at scale now. I was wondering if this is anything that you've kind of thought about or had any insight on.
For 3D printing, I can really see it. Like it's changed the entire rapid prototyping industry. You used to always have to get CNC machines to create your molds. And now you can literally just have a printer and you can print in so many different materials that you don't really even need to spend the thousands and thousands of dollars to get the mold made to just get prototypes. You can just print it at home or in your shop or at your workplace. And you can see this even in like the car industries and stuff. I mean, they're taking it to a whole different level with metal printers, and it's pretty crazy.
I didn't even know that metal printers and things like that even existed. I was always kind of under the impression, again, how little I know, that you would at least have kind of temperature constraints on materials that you can use for 3D printing.
Yeah, so the metal printers use like a fine dust, and then as the bed goes up, it uses a laser where in that like layer as it's going through the dust to create the metal parts.
Oh, interesting. I
Really
knew it
cool.
existed, but I had no idea how. I imagine those are much more expensive too.
Yeah, they're like $100,000. I've been wanting one, but they are very pricey because you got to get a full system. You have to get the printer itself, then you have to get a sinter and a whole bunch of stuff to like clean it up and actually bring it to life.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that is really cool. And just for my own curiosity too, when it comes to the plastic printings, is there any more like, what would I say, like thermal resistant plastics that you can use for making those as well too? Or what's the kind of upper limit? I've done my own kind of experimentation working on building some products specifically for research. And I'm kind of limited to working with like polycarbonate or polysulfone. And I don't know if that stuff can be done any other way than like injection molding.
Nah, I think if you want to go that route, you'd look at like resin printing because there's a whole bunch of different like specialty resins that are for the molding itself. For the plastic wise, I mean, you got like nylon, you got carbon fiber filaments. I think nylon is going to be your top of the line actual FDM filament. Right now, there's nothing more than that. They're starting to look at trying to do metal composites into the filament spools themselves. And then you'd actually like put it in a kiln to bring it to life, which would be pretty nuts. But I normally stick with like PETG, carbon fiber mix, or PLA.
Very cool. Very cool. Thank you for that. So kind of just jumping back into like the Bitcoin space for a bit. So I think you said you got in roughly around like 2017 or so.
Yep.
I'm curious if there's anything that you've seen, recently or fairly recently in the space, or kind of what on the Bitcoin area has your attention right now?
I don't even know, man. I feel like I'm at the point where it's like a burnout. Like I don't really care about the Bitcoin price anymore at all.
Yeah.
So like it doesn't even bother me. And I think
58K forever.
Yeah, I mean, pretty basically, even though we just dropped again today. But
I didn't look, did we?
Yeah,
it's 53.
Oh shit! Everybody go check.
Today.
Oh
yeah.
man, sell your Bitcoin.
But other than that, I don't know. Like the price does really nothing for me. I don't think.
Yep.
I finally hit my stack goal after 7 years, and now it's just kind of like, okay, I'm gonna let it fade in the background, do my thing, and just have fun running the company now. I think my problem was I got too obsessed with hitting a goal. So I put all my time, effort, and it would always like just sit in my head like I need to hit this goal. Yep. But in reality, like keep stacking as much as you can, but don't obsess over a certain goal. It'll happen over time. And I think that's where the burnout came from. Of just trying to hit that freaking goal no matter what. Because once it happens and you hit it, you're like, oh, I don't know why I cared so much.
Right. So, it's that total human nature in the sense that we're goal driven and we're mission driven creatures, but actually getting there doesn't nearly matter nearly as much as like the journey getting there. So I'm sure so as soon as you got the goal, it's like, shit, okay, now what do I do? What's the next mission? What do I move on to next?
Yeah, it's so crazy because right now after being in here for a while, I'm just like, oh, okay, we're at 53. We'll always end up higher. That's what I believe in. I stacked Bitcoin because I truly believe it's the only way I can save for my family and grow. So at this point, I'm all in. So there is no other way, and I don't really care what the price is today.
Yeah, and
that's beautiful.
What I'm hearing is kind of similar to what like I kind of went through a few years back when you go through a few cycles and you just get to the point where you're like, yeah, it's gonna go up if you believe in it, you're convicted, and you kind of just come to peace with it, and you don't care about the price anymore. You're not worried about it, and it's just one less thing to think about. You just rely on it, and it's something that is that solid foundation that is always there. And you're like, whatever the goal is one thing, but even if your Bitcoin stack doesn't move in Bitcoin terms, it's going to go up in fiat terms and probably purchasing power just because of the limited supply. So yeah, it takes a lot of that load off that I think that most people are just used to with like the normie life where you like always feel like you have to hustle and do the next thing and be busy all the time.
Yeah, because at this point I'm either gonna retire at a decent age do to Bitcoin, or I'm going to be a Walmart greeter till I'm 97.
Exactly.
So, I mean, it is what it is. And I'm totally okay with that. I truly believed in Bitcoin and I still do. And I think it's going to be the best for my family. And if it doesn't work out, well, I guess I'm going to bust ass in the fiat rat race again and be a Walmart greeter till I'm 90 to make it happen. So it's just, it's just one of those things.
100%. And there's something so beautiful about that too. It's kind of the like, well, at least I'm doing something that aligns with my values and what I want to do. It gives me that chance. If it doesn't work, fuck it. At least I tried, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, what else do we have to do to try? There is nothing else that we can possibly benefit from that I see trying to save our money over time. Like I don't have time to play the stock market game. I don't have time to constantly try to like gamble and do all this research or even just mess with like money making accounts. It's just, I want to buy Bitcoin. I want to put it away and I just want it to sit there.
Yeah. I mean, if it doesn't work out, you know, we're just going to end up like 99% of people that are doing what they're doing today. So
yes, if it doesn't work out, we're just going to be doing the same shit as everybody else anyways that doesn't do it. So why not take that risk?
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, I completely agree, which I'm kind of curious on, Rick, and feel free like to tell me to fuck off and not share anything that you don't want to. But I'm really curious. So this like this entrepreneurial spirit, this love and tie into Bitcoin too. Was there something in your past? Was it something about, you know, the way you're brought up or previous experiences? What gave you the kind of the attitude and I would argue courage to leave the fiat mines and go pursue this and to stick everything into Bitcoin?
I pretty much just got sick of the fiat race, to be honest. It's fucking annoying. I hate corporate life. The biggest thing for me was when I saved my company $8 million over 3 huge projects that were actually on the books, like real dollar savings. And all they did was give me a towel and a coffee mug for saving them money. I pretty much.
Are you serious?
Oh,
they
yeah.
literally just give you a fucking towel?
Yeah, they're like, congratulations on 3 of your best of the best project. Okay, so like Hormel has this best of the best projects where every plant in Hormel would do a project for the year. And like, if your project saved the most money, you'd like go to this huge thing. And 3 of mine made the final 10 and I saved $8 million. And at the end, I got a towel and a coffee maker or a coffee cup. And after that, I went home and I told my wife and I go, this is what I got. I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing anymore. Like, what is the point?
That's really demoralizing.
What is the point of busting ass at a fiat job? Yeah, like money's great, but I didn't get any joy from it. And all the hard work that I put into, I didn't get to see any benefit from. And that's why I started CryptoCloaks on the side and just hustled it all the way through while working at Genio to the point where I was like working 20-hour days. Because I go, at least all the time that I put into this company, I will see the returns like 10x on the other side where I just don't get screwed. I hate corporate world. I truly do. Like the corporate life is the worst.
No, it's fucking terrible. And I'm really empathizing with your story here. Cause even like me in Bitcoin Mentor here, it's very similar in the sense that I was so fed up. I'm coming from the academic world and I was so fed up with the way that things were going there. It's like, I have to do something on the side. I need to just put my time and energy somewhere where maybe my hard work will be rewarded and come back to me versus just always busting for somebody else and they're never satisfied.
Yeah. I mean, the corporate rat race in the fiat world, I just finally hit that point where I kind of knew about Bitcoin on the side. And I eventually just said, you know what? I'm done with this. I can't handle the corporate world. I need to figure out how the hell to get out of it.
So I'd be remiss if I didn't ask then too. So from your experience, from getting to this point, because I think your story really is reminiscent of a lot of people that are still out there. For someone who's thinking of starting a business or thinking of doing, a new project or a side hustle, do you have any recommendations or suggestions? Maybe even like books or resources that really helped you along the way?
I didn't even do any books or resources. I literally just learned. I just learned as I went, man, and just like failed hard sometimes, succeeded hard, and I just learn as I go. Like every day. I'm still on a journey. I mean, I'm only 7 years old as a company. I feel like I'm still new and I don't know. I'm just like a mom and pop shop. I'm not this huge corporation. I think taking VC money is a terrible idea. So that's why I haven't fucking mooned, but I will never take VC money, lose control and all that bullshit that comes with it. So.
I just got to add to that too quickly. I've had very, very, very close friends that started businesses and they needed to take some initial money and capital from the beginning. And fast forward 5 years, basically just liquidated the company because he was so tired of having to deal with the original investors.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, fuck it. I will just go and do my own thing. Cause I did this cause I didn't want to answer to somebody anymore. And I don't want to have to justify every business decision that I'm making to people who don't even understand it from the ground up.
Yeah, exactly. And if I fuck up, I fuck up. I'm the one that did that. And if I do really well, guess what? It was me or the 3 other people on my team that had the great idea. And here we all are celebrating. It's not just, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm kind of curious what your visions are for the future of CryptoCloak. Like what are you guys thinking about expanding into, if you want to share any of that stuff or any ideas floating around your head?
Yeah. To be honest, I got sick of like the industrial mining portion of it. It's just, I'm slowly like backing off of like industrial mining operations and stuff like that. I'm just going back to my roots of where I started with making like node cases and fun stuff and just designing things like that. The whole mining industry, I just got sick of, because it turned into like a whole corporate kind of deal all over again. And I'll still create products here and there, but I just got sick of it. And I was like, I like designing stuff. And like, that's my true passion, is just designing products that I want, or other people bring ideas. And I'm like, oh yeah, I think that's super cool. Let me bring it to life. And that's truly what I want to do, is just sit in the background and just design cool shit and bring it to life, while eventually, hopefully somebody else can just run the day-to-day of CryptoCloaks while I just get to sit back and design cool products nonstop. Cause that's my true passion. It's just the designing aspect.
I feel like that's the Bitcoiner's journey. Like, I just want to sit back here and build cool shit.
Yeah, like I wouldn't even be on social media if I didn't run a company. That's where I'm at, and it would be great. I love talking with everybody on social media, but man, it's a fucking drain. Like, social media in general is just a huge drain. And I would love to just like sit in the woods and just design shit all day. I think that'd be fucking great. That's like the end goal for me, to be honest. I'm not even lying.
Yeah, get the Citadel built in a decade time here or something. Ed, Did you have something you want to add there, buddy?
Yeah, no, I'm actually curious as far as the designing goes. Is there any? I know I saw the what was it, the cold card Q cases you came out with. Obviously, the BitX stands you're saying are probably popping off. Anything else that you guys are thinking about doing? Maybe something a little unique that's like a standalone thing.
I'm trying to figure out. I have like 30 side projects. I don't even know what one of them is right now. That's the sad part. I just did another. I'm trying to figure out. So like, we just did the BitX Hub, the round version, and I kind of want to bring that to life for like the space heaters. I just love that whole form factor. I think I'm going to mess with that more. I'm starting to go down like I created a couple products for like the gun community with like AR-15 wall mounts and mag mounts. I want to keep messing with that, because like most of the stuff that we sell is stuff that I want in general, and I want myself. So yeah, there'll be some more stuff coming down the line. I'm going to mess with like more AR-15 and like block stuff, and try to go down that route a little bit too.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Nathan. Yeah.
No, you jump in, because I'm going to change gears. So you go first.
I was going to change gears too. I was kind of curious if you wanted to comment on some of the 3D printed gun stuff, because I follow that as well as I can. But I'm curious if you are picking up on anything interesting in the space of that.
I used to be really hardcore into it until Colorado became full commie and banned ghost guns completely, and I had to destroy every single one of my lowers.
Oh, what'd they do?
They passed a law where if you had, I think it was every lower you had, it was the first lower that you got caught with, it was $300 fine, and then after that it was like 2 years in prison, and then it stacked. And the amount of printed lowers I had, I'd go to prison for like years, so I just destroyed them all.
Damn.
Oh, holy shit! And
so I had to go buy serialized lowers. Yeah, I had to go buy
God.
serialized lowers for all of my guns and stuff. So that was a huge blow to like me having fun in the space, because I was designing a Mac 10 that I called it the Big Mac 10, and it was pretty much just like McDonald's themed. It was really freaking cool, and I had to destroy it, and it like made me cry a little because I took a lot of time on that. But I was having fun just designing stuff for that. Even it was fun.
Oh, gosh, such a tragic waste too. And again, it's one of those things that you can't stop the flow of information, team. And it just to threaten people for printing something in their own house is just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, so eventually I need to move to a state where I can do that again, because that was like, besides Bitcoin, one of my favorite hobbies on like Bitcoin and 3D printing. It kind of brought everything together on the freedom aspect. It was super fun.
Yeah, I might be a little biased, but I'm over in New Hampshire, and I know a couple congressmen here that are very pro this kind of stuff, and the gun rights stuff obviously is a big issue here. Can't promise that any state is going to stay that way, but that's
God, I
very
know.
unfortunate, though. Yeah.
Yeah, they did that about nine months ago. So that was a sad
Okay.
day. I had boxes and I had all of my lowers hanging on the wall, and they're all gone now.
I
Oh
wonder
God.
like how effective even that's even going to be, or even just the 3D printed
I mean, you can't stop it, right?
industry and yeah, right, like the whole industry, like how are you going to stop anybody from printing anything? Like it
Not
just
like if the
seems
world goes to shit and all of a sudden I need lowers, I have so many upper kits that I'll just 3D print the lowers just to protect my family and like the community that it doesn't even matter. I have all the
right.
files, like having the
Right, like
files aren't
they can't
illegal.
like take the files away, but
No,
it's like, oh, I'll just keep the file over here, and if I ever need it, I just have to press a button, and then
yeah,
it's kind of crazy. Yeah,
they can try, but
well,
you'll never stop it. I mean, it's like freedom
yeah,
money. 3D printing
Yep.
brings a whole different like aspect of sovereignty, self-sovereignty to people. And I've been trying to push that where every Bitcoiner should have their own 3D printer just because of all the different things you can do with it, to be honest.
Actually, that's a really good kind of side point there as well too. I don't have a 3D printer, and I've never directly looked at purchasing one. What would you recommend for Bitcoiners to get to maybe have at home? And then also, what kind of is the main philosophy kind of behind having it?
Yeah. Right now, honestly, I used to be the biggest Prusa fan on the planet. I used to always tell people that was like the cream of the crop MK3s. But right now, we've swapped most of our shop out to bamboos. And honestly, you can get a bamboo P1P for like $500, and it's plug, play, print, and the quality and ease is just it's stupid easy compared to when I started. For the price point, it's nuts. That's the number one printer I would recommend at this point.
I'm adding that to my list for the future if I get another one.
They're great.
Yeah, very good. I'm actually kind of curious too. I thought I've kind of had around the 3D printing space is I'm almost surprised there haven't been little pop up like shops in like cities that offer like a per print price, and you just kind of like go through a catalog of stuff that they have, and you just buy it, and then they have it printed like that day or next day.
Yeah.
Have you thought about that kind of stuff or seen anything like that? Maybe I'm not aware of it.
Mostly you see that at like farmers markets and stuff, but just having a retail store of that, I think retail's dying. It's dying fast, and I'm glad
That's
I
true.
never got into retail myself because I would have been under 10 times. And that's why I still run the shop out of like my home basement. I haven't expanded into like a separate location and shop just because of the overhead costs are so much higher. And even with a retail store, I mean, it's crazy. There's definitely probably an opportunity out there, but with like e-commerce and stuff blowing up and just how ease of access on how to get stuff and print it, there's just for me, there is no point to have a brick and mortar store for what we do, just based on the overhead costs and hoping for the best. Because I'd rather just have somebody send me the file on an email. I say, oh, I'll print it for $3 an hour of the print time, and then that's what you pay, and I'll ship it out.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great idea. I could see more people using services like that, especially when there's a more diverse set of like products that you can get out of these. I mean, there's already a crazy amount of things that you could just buy from that.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, there's anything that you can think of, you can 3D print. I mean, you just go on websites like Printables or Thingiverse, and you'll search it, and it'll be there. Like, if you want something, it's most likely already out there where you can just print it.
Yeah, one of the latest things I got just off the whim was a little headphone mount that you just screw into the wall, but it like nicely sits your headphones on it, and it just worked perfectly for my desk. And I'm like, I thought about it, I'm like, there's no way I would have found this at a retail store somewhere, or maybe on like something like Amazon. But the fact that someone could just print this with some filament or resin and then ship it to me for like $5, it's like it's kind of crazy.
I think that's my favorite part of like owning the 3D printer is like if something breaks around the house or you need like a special clamp to like hold a hose on a wall, or my vacuum cleaner tube needs to be mounted on the wall because I'm sick of it just leaning up against the wall. You just whip it up in CAD real quick, you print it off, and 3 hours later you have exactly what you wanted instead of even just waiting or trying to buy it. And it's pennies on the dollar when you print it yourself.
Faster than Amazon. I feel like I should get this because that would make Santa's life a lot easier next year.
Hey, don't get me wrong. If you want really fine quality and like it's a huge print and stuff, and there's some settings, it will take a little bit longer. But in general, it's just the whole freedom aspect of it. I've had stuff break around the house. I'll whip up something in CAD, 3D print the part, and I won't have to buy it new. I'll just replace the part with a 3D printed one that I do. I've done that so many times over the past years that, yeah, it's worth it.
How challenging would you say it is for someone like myself that isn't savvy with like 3D modeling or any of those software that you'd like custom design things? Like, is it easier now to maybe create a custom little thing? Or
yeah, I mean, there's software out there. You don't have to use like Fusion 360 or anything like that. There's things like Tinkercad and programs like that are really basic, and you can bust stuff out real quick, and you don't have to have like an engineering degree or take hours and hours and hours and hours of just like learning the basics.
Cool. I see we have Grace up here too.
Grace, did you have a question?
Yeah, I do. I feel stupid asking it though. I should probably know better. I got to like, is there any kind of a deal out there where you could use a multi-signature scheme for escrow in a peer-to-peer transaction that's like not so fucking complicated that somebody who didn't understand Bitcoin could use it? Like the situation would be like, say you're doing a contracting service, right? And the client is going to put up $20,000 of Bitcoin, and it stays there, and you release certain amounts at, you know, whatever distribution, like half at front, you know, half at the end, things like that. Is there any solutions out there like that that I'm missing out? that I don't know about?
Pat or Ed, do you want to take a crack at this? If not, I'll jump in.
I'll jump in real quickly. Yes, there are ways of doing that, and we can, you know, we can talk to you about that if you need to, and set it up exactly how it is you need it for your business, Grace. So yeah, reach out to us, and we'll be glad to sit down with you and come up with a customized solution for your business. If you want to add anything to that, Edward.
No, that's my advice too, Nate. You can go.
Yeah, I was going to say the easiest way to kind of do like a simple escrow thing, if you're just working with, if you have a third party involved that you can rely on and trust, that both you and the buyer or the seller are comfortable with, is the easiest way is kind of just a 2 of 3 multi-sig, where essentially you've got one key, Grace, we'll say your buyer's got one key, and then you've got a third party that can arbitrate any disputes that has a key as well too. And in that sense, if you and the buyer agree on a transaction, you can use each of your keys in order to sign that transaction, then have it go through. And in any situation where you need the third party, the kind of escrow to step in, they have the ability to add to one of your keys, and then additionally have that transaction go through as they kind of see fit for the arbitration for the situation. Does that kind of answer the question?
Yes and no, because the first answer had me thinking of like it's a 2 of 2 multi-sig that 2 people work out, and then your next one would be like a hodl type platform, right? Where you could sign up. So are you saying there are like platforms like hodl, but it would be I guess between people out in the real world that aren't necessarily doing Bitcoin, but they're putting it up in escrow?
I know that I think that's what they're doing for their lending platform essentially, and that's how they're organizing their 2 of 3 multi-sig. I'm not sure if there are companies that are directly offering escrow services, but I'm sure that there are. It would be worth talking to the guys at like HODL or something along those lines and seeing if they can facilitate it for you. Additionally, I can see we've got TC and Ben in the audience. I know you guys are both probably busy, but if either of you have any information regarding escrow Bitcoin services, love to have you come up and add to this. Does that help, Grace? Does that cover most of it? I might not be hearing CryptoCloaks right now.
No, it gives me some ideas to look into. I'll definitely follow up with you guys further about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to depend on your unique situation. These kinds of things, like he suggested with the multi-sig, or it's just going to depend on like who else can be involved in it, and who you have in mind, and how you want to set it up, and what both parties are comfortable with. So it requires a little bit of deep diving, and maybe not necessarily a quick answer.
I just want to, I don't know if Ben is listening. He's down in the audience, but man, it would be like super cool if Bull Bitcoin, now I don't want to sound like a shitcoiner, but if Bull Bitcoin had like an escrow service like this, where a client could, you could give Bitcoin, and the real world still works in Canadian dollars, right? And Bull Bitcoin uses LCAD. And so it's like it transfers it into LCAD, so it's in a stable coin. Everybody understands the price, and then the other person can transfer it right back to Bitcoin after. I don't know if that's becomes less decentral. It must. I don't know. But
well, anytime we're dealing with escrow, there's going to be some element of trust kind of involved with that setup as well there too. But no, it's a very interesting point. I love the team over at Bull Bitcoin. So even in this situation, they're super helpful. They're really quick to respond. It's worth even just sending them a quick DM on Twitter or at the handle there, or send them a quick email, because maybe that is something that they've been offering to some of their like commercial clients and stuff as well too. I'm not sure, but it's definitely worth checking in.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it too.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Grace, for coming up and asking the question. I really appreciate it. And then just reminder to the audience too, if anybody else has additional questions or comments, you want to come up and chat with us, TC, I'm going to bug you because we need that Crux update at some point here. I want to know how that's going. Pat, what's on your mind? Do you have any questions for CryptoCloak or anything to add?
Absolutely. It's so great to hear Rick talk about how CryptoCloaks started. After hearing about CryptoCloaks so much from Simply Bitcoin and from Tatum talking about it, it's nice to now I finally know what the title means, because I was like, CryptoCloaks, what does that even mean? But now I understand. It's like, oh, you have your hardware wallet sitting on your desktop right next to your keyboard, and yeah, maybe you do want to put it in a cloak. So that kind of makes sense. So appreciate you telling that story. And then I was when you were talking about you don't want to take VC money, I was reminded of someone I heard speaking in the Bitcoin space back in 2013. Now, this is someone who most Bitcoiners these days probably don't even know who this person is anymore. But say 10, 11 years ago, he was like one of the most well-known Bitcoiners. A guy named Yufu Guo, who is the co-founder of a mining company called Avalon. I don't know if you're familiar with them, Rick, but basically what I heard Yufu say, and I can probably DM you the video of him saying this because I was there and I recorded it live, but basically he was in a situation where he had all the ASICs, all the Bitcoin ASICs that were in existence, and he had them all in his hand. And he realized that he had the power, because most people those days were still mining with GPUs. Like ASICs hadn't even become, used yet. He had all the ASIC chips in his hand, and he could have dominated the entire Bitcoin mining network by just starting to mine with those ASICs. But he decided he didn't want to do that because he wanted mining to stay decentralized, and he decided to start a company where he was selling these ASIC miners to just regular individuals to use it. And he also, similar to you, Rick, he also said he didn't want to take investor money. I don't know if he specifically said VCs or any investors, because he didn't want the strings that came with it. So I just wanted to say congratulations to you for having those principles. And I'll try to DM you that video from 2013 I have of Yufu Guo saying that.
Yeah, I'd love to see it, man. That'd be awesome. Please do.
So jumping back even just for a second here too, Rick, you made the comment that you were doing stuff for commercial mining. I wasn't even aware that was like a division of CryptoCloaks as well too. So what exactly was it that you were doing with those guys?
Yeah, so we were doing a lot of like fan shroud designs and different aspects of like blocking gaps on the ASICs in their huge mining facilities. And we were having the mining facilities actually like run data tests for us on our shrouds to get like huge chunks of data. And then we had like slip-on versions to make it super easy for install. We actually got a patent on like a whole bunch of stuff. And yeah, I mean, it was fun, but then it just kind of like turned in the whole corporate world again. And I was like, why am I doing this? I'd rather go back to all the fun stuff that we were doing before. So I'm slowly backing away from all of that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can see why you'd want to get away from that world after running from it from the first time. Right? It's like, fuck, I'm not going back. Why would I want to go back?
Yeah.
So just a reminder to the audience, again, if anybody wants to come up and chat with us, we'd love to have you here. I'm kind of curious then, because we kind of touched on Colorado and the recent kind of printing laws that they threw in there as well too. I imagine that you guys do get some inquiries from people that are curious about Bitcoin. And I don't know if any of your team spends time at meetups or anything else in the area, but I'm just wondering, for Colorado, boots on the ground, what is the kind of Bitcoin sentiment? Are people still very interested? Are you seeing any newcomers or any
Oh,
questions?
yeah,
coming through the
Colorado's
store?
huge. I don't know if you guys heard about the space down in Denver. They used to be like a huge Denver meetup, and then they created their own space and got like a whole training ground now. And they've created a pretty much a huge get together down in Denver that they throw, I think, at least once a month, if not more. It's called the Space. I don't make it down there that often because I just hate Denver in general, the city, not the place or like the meetups. I just hate big cities. I try to stay out of them. But no, they throw together a lot of cool stuff down there.
Oh, that's very cool. I had no idea that was even going on. Do you know offhand who's involved with that?
Yeah, so one of the main guys on that runs it is Zach. What is his? God, I can't remember his Twitter name. I have it somewhere. I can DM it to you later. I can't remember on the top of my head.
Yeah, no worries. But it's fantastic to hear they've got a giant community hangout in Colorado and they're building something like that up. It's nice to see these little citadels like Bitcoin Park and Bitcoin Jungle and there's so many now. They have these little safe havens for people to go and meet up and chat and build and do things.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see that ever stopping. I think local meetups are better than the big conferences, and that's just my personal opinion. I went to a bunch of conferences. After 7 years, it's kind of like, that's cool. But I go to conferences not for all of anything anymore. It's just to pretty much meet up with your friends or meet up with people that you've met online, and then you finally see them in real life and you hang out and have a good time. But you can do that anywhere. And I think local meetups kind of bring that aspect all the time. So I think local meetups, if you're hesitant on going to them, I would say definitely try it out and meet the people in your local community, because that's honestly the most fun, even over like the huge conferences.
I completely agree. Just want to echo that sentiment. For anybody who hasn't gone to a Bitcoin meetup, I cannot stress just how absolutely wonderful, at least the experience has been for me. The first time actually hanging out with Bitcoiners in the real world, where you get to kind of like very quickly let the guard down and just say what you actually think versus like self-censoring, depending on the kind of environments that you're in. If you're spending a lot of time in corporate or academia, things like this, it's such a relief and just an energizing place to be.
Yeah, we need more Bitcoin meetups for sure. I love hearing when people are like shouting those out and supporting them.
Absolutely. Local meetups, I think, are key. So
on that note then too, Rick, did you go to any of the conferences or anything this year?
No, I took this year off to hang out with my new kid.
Yeah, that sounds like it was probably a much better use of your time. I would. Yeah.
Mopar from Florida, he ran our booth at the Bitcoin conference this year. He still wanted to go to the conference, so we got a booth for him to run, and he had a blast. But for me personally, no, I took conferences off this year just to hang out with my new kid, and it's been amazing. So.
Oh, that's wonderful. You love to hear Bitcoin building companies and Bitcoiners building more Bitcoiners. Is this a first for you?
Yeah, this is our first. So I'm pretty pumped.
Oh, congratulations. Any plans for more?
Oh yeah, we'll have more.
Awesome. That's good to hear. Pat, as we're getting a little closer to the top of the hour, anything else on your mind at the moment, buddy?
Yeah, for not really for me, just having fun listening to you guys talk, and just really fascinated by Rick's story. So nothing to add.
Awesome. I'm curious then, Rick, too. So we have CryptoCloaks, you have the products going on in the background, but again, I don't know about you, and maybe this wasn't your experience. I've met several entrepreneurs over the years that really enjoyed actually building the company a lot more than running the company, right? And it kind of sounded like that. Yeah.
Yes.
And it sounded like a little bit earlier that it's like, if I could just have people run the shop for me and design cool shit in the background, that would be awesome. Yeah. I'm curious if you have any other like entrepreneurial ideas or ventures or things you might dabble in or look at in the future.
Honestly, no, because running CryptoCloaks full time is like a full time. It takes up all my time. It's funny because like people complain about the 9 to 5, which sucks because you're working for other people, and they're like, "Oh, I'll work for myself. It'll be easier." It's like, no, just prepare yourself. It is a 24/7, 365. It has to be a labor of love. If you don't truly love it or are passionate about what you're building, you will get burnt out super quick. Luckily for me, I haven't got the full burnout, and I don't think I ever will, because when I start feeling it, I kind of cut things back and then try to like focus on what I truly am here for, the passion, and then just like getting away for like a week, going outside or going in the mountains or something. But yeah, I mean, the day-to-day running parts of a company, I don't think that'll ever be fun for anybody, doing the finances, all that bullshit. when you run your own company, it's not fun. Dealing with taxes and all that crap. I mean, that's the shit part of it, but you deal with it because what you're truly building on the side is what you're passionate about and you love. So you just put up with it.
There is one other thing I wanted to mention, if I can jump in here real quickly. I remember you saying that you didn't want to take any VC money because you didn't want to give up control of the company. And this is where your passion is: designing cool stuff and selling cool stuff. That's what you want to do. And the problem is when you start taking VC money, these VCs are experts on how to set up their own, investment schemes to make sure that they get control of the company. And most people who run these small companies are not experts in that. So they just kind of say, well, you guys are the experts. You figure this stuff out. And that's how, a company like Tesla, for example, which was founded by not Elon Musk, the guys who started the company lost control to the investors, including Elon Musk. Whereas you take another company, say like Airbnb, the guys who run Airbnb now are the same founders that started, because they were able to take VC money without losing control. So it all comes down to how you set up your seed rounds and how you set up the notes. And if you know what you're doing, there are ways you can actually take VC money without losing control of the company. So I'll probably, when I DM you that video of Yufu, I'll probably send you some of that stuff too, so you can take a look at it. And if you do decide at some point to take investor money, you don't lose control of the company that you started.
That sounds like a big headache of taking investor money. And that's just me personally. I like staying low key and small. Like I don't need to be a huge corporation. I think that's why my main thought against it. Like having a bunch of money is great. And I don't know. I like where we're at. I like the projection I'm at, small and slowly building.
Absolutely. I get it.
Yeah, but Rick, we gotta have somebody pay for that metal 3D printer, because that just sounds really fucking cool.
Yeah, I know, I guess. We'll slowly save up. That's why we save in Bitcoin and the company funds, right? Because eventually I'll be able to
100%.
do it without doing anything else.
Oh, isn't that the beauty of actually being able to save your money for once, instead of having to constantly chase and spend and burn it?
And not
as we're coming to the top, yes. And as we're coming to the top of the hour, I do want to be respectful of your time and these things too. But kind of on that note, I'm curious. I imagine that in your circle of friends, that you're probably the Bitcoin guy. And so if somebody comes to you and says, Rick, I finally paid attention to what you're telling me over these years, and I'm going to get into Bitcoin, I'm wondering where you point them, either resources, wallets, hardware wallets. What are your kind of, favorite things that you use or you like or you recommend for other people to use? And then also additionally, what corresponding CryptoCloaks product should they also get along with that?
Yeah. So I'll start out and say, if people come to me, I will definitely help them out. I have finally stopped a couple of years ago, just trying to convince people to buy Bitcoin, because holy shit, doing that for 5 years, that'll burn anybody out. Yeah. And I mean, as you start and get into the space, obviously you want to try, but eventually you just realize hey, people will buy it when they deserve it. And that's where I'm at. But if they come to me and go, hey, what should I do? Normally I send them to BTC sessions for videos, because I mean, it's sessions. I'm not even trying to suck up. I see him listening now. Yep. He's done amazing videos. He even created ones for space heaters, which I just didn't want to do and take the time. And he just did a whole walkthrough of how to build your own space heater and do it all, which was amazing. So I always send people straight to him. And then what I normally do is do a cold card or a Trezor. Ease of access, honestly, on the Trezor side, if it's a boomer or something, I send them on a Trezor. Yes, it's not a cold card, but cold card is a little bit more in depth and you can do a lot more things. So if they're younger, I always send them to do that and set up that way. And products from us, it's normally cold card mounts or any hardware wallet mount, or the tomb that hides your seed plates, or a Bitcoin grenade, just because you want to end the fiat system like all the rest of us. Yeah.
No, those are all fantastic suggestions. And I understand and I agree. You do have to meet people where they are. They always have the option of moving from, say, a Trezor to something else later on down the road, right? It's still there, and it's better to get them into the system. It's better to get them onto Bitcoin. Also have some skin in the game, so they start researching it, they start learning about it, and the conviction comes with that as well too. And they can always upgrade their setup as they progress down the line. Are there any books or podcasts or things you like? Or maybe even throwing this one at you, is there any non-Bitcoin books or podcasts or things that you think are really interesting or good for people to check out?
That'd be amazing if I could read any of those books or listen to podcasts. I'm so busy running a shop that I don't even listen to anything. This is the worst question, because it's what does this guy actually listen to in Bitcoin? And it's honestly not much in the last couple of years, to be honest. I tried.
You listen to a whole bunch of 3D printers constantly buzzing.
Yeah, or just like S9 or miners heating in the winter in the shop. I mean, that's what I listen to. That's my noise. That's what keeps me going. Podcasts, yeah, I don't even know. I think I just got burnt out from podcasts for like 5-6 years of listening to it. I think a lot of people do the same thing. So like right now, I haven't listened to a podcast in honestly a year and a half or more.
No, if you're here long enough, it is the same old stories. It's the same old FUD. It's the same old arguments that do kind of keep cropping back up again.
Every
again,
2
again.
years, every 2 to 4 years. I mean, it's just the cycle continues, which is fantastic because at least all the new people come in, they get to go through all the shit that we do. But it's great. I mean, you can learn it, and it's not like, oh, what happened in the past? Oh, you'll find out. Like you'll learn it. It'll be here. Give it a couple years.
Yep. You'll find your way there. And actually, just one thing I want to double tap on there quick too, as well too, for anyone in the audience that hasn't, it's really worth checking out like the home mining, like S9s are cheap. The cases are awesome. It's a fun little learning project and hobby project in the same way, and same thing with the BitAxe is there as well too. And if you're already in the Bitcoin space, it's you might as well like learn a little bit more, try some things, experiment with a bit. And, worst case scenario, like I got an S9 heat in my garage. It's like, okay, I'm getting sats back on a freezing garage that was going to heat with electricity anyways.
Exactly. Also run your own node.
Yes. Thank you. If you don't run your node, learn. It's worth it.
Learn. I would highly recommend Start9, by the way. I love everything they're building.
Yeah, I'm using Star9 right now, and I'm very, very happy with the setup as well too. And just even to expand on that, that is if you're here to be your own bank and to have uncensorable money and these things too, the node is the be your own bank portion of it. It is part of the learning curve. You don't have to get there right away. It can take you a long time, but it's worth at least pursuing and looking into.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. Well, thank you so much for coming. Is there anything that you want to just close out on, maybe where people can reach you and some stuff about CryptoCloaks?
Yeah, you can go to CryptoCloaks.com, fully customize any of our products on there. We have a bunch, and I'm not even going to try to label them all off. If you guys have any questions, concerns, anything, you can hit me up on Twitter. I run the DM accounts. I run Twitter fully. I probably will never give it up until I get sick of social media, which who knows when that'll be. Or you can email us. Yeah, right. You can hit me up on Telegram. If you have questions about 3D printing, I'm always here to answer and get you guys started on that journey. If you have any questions or things you want designed, printed, I'll do that too. I mean, I'm here. I love what I do. And hopefully I can help you guys become self-sovereign some way. So
awesome. Yeah. And thanks. Anyone listening, make sure you give them a follow and check out CryptoCloaks if you don't know who they are and what to do. And I just want to say thanks everyone for coming to listen to us. We do the space every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. And if you want to check out Bitcoin Mentor, you go to bitcoinmentor.io and you can email us or book a free one-on-one session and learn about what we can do and how we can help you with setting up a node, self-custodying your Bitcoin, any of that good stuff. But I hope everyone has a great day and weekend, and take care until we see you on Monday.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. This was fun. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Thank you, Rick. It was a pleasure having you here. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you guys soon. Cheers.
See ya.